Okay, so here's some basic emotions. We talked about basic motivations. And so what we're going to do in a simple way is we're going to divide them into two: positive emotions and negative emotions. Okay, and that basically gives you extroversion and neuroticism. So positive emotions, they kind of fall into two classes. The one class is the positive emotion you feel when you run a motivational frame to its limit. So you're hungry, you go have a peanut butter sandwich, and then you're no longer hungry. Okay, so what's the state? How do you define the state after you've eaten your peanut butter sandwich and you're no longer hungry? Well, you know, you're not jumping up and down and cheering like someone who just made a touchdown, right? So it's not that kind of enthusiastic positive emotion that you see when people are celebrating. You know, it's more like satisfaction. And that's actually technically what it's known as, satiation. And so when a motivational routine runs successfully, what happens is it eliminates the necessity for it to exist temporarily. So basically what happens is you run a framework to its logical conclusion, poof, it disappears, because it's done. And you know, you might be satisfied about that, but the next thing that happens is another motivational framework pops up, and you're in the same game. It's Sisyphus, fundamentally. So, anyways, it's satiation that is, the term satiation is technically used to describe the state of being that's characteristic of the successful execution of a motivated frame. It's also known as consummatory reward. Consummation, consume. And that's associated with unconditioned, that's an unconditioned response. Which means you don't have to learn it. So it's an unconditioned positive response. So, and that means that satiating stimuli, when delivered to a creature in the proper motivational frame, have the properties of unconditioned rewards. So you get three things there. You know, the satiation brings the motivated frame to an end. The satiation is also known as consummatory reward. Consummatory reward is very similar to what the behaviors described as unconditioned reward, unlearned. So you can stack each of those things to know on top of each other, and then you've got them. The other kind of positive emotion is the positive emotion that you feel when it looks like you might get a consummatory reward. Right. Hope, curiosity, anticipation, excitement, enthusiasm. All of the positive emotions that we think of as really like happy usually has to do with evidence that your pursuit of a valued consummatory reward is going well. Okay, now that's incentive reward, and the reason it's called incentive reward is because you're incentivized to move forward to the reward. And the moving forward, the impulse to move forward towards a desired goal, that's what your positive emotion systems, the dopaminergic systems that are nestled, have their roots in the hypothalamus, that's what they motivate you to do. That's what positive emotion is, fundamentally. Positive emotion is, there's something good, I'm going to go get it. It's the I'm going to go get it part that's associated with excitement and positive emotion. It's what you feel, maybe you're an extrovert, you want to go to a party. And so you're probably more excited about going to the party than you will be when you get there, you know, because it's the apprehension of the reward that's with human beings, because we're such weird creatures. So often the apprehension of the consummatory reward is a more powerful emotion than the emotion that's actually felt as a consequence of gaining the reward itself. And that's partly, and this is where it gets a little more complicated, that's partly because we're so bloody exploratory. You know, so there's things that you can learn about that are associated with the consummatory reward. Those are conditioned rewards. So an incentive reward and a conditioned reward are in the same category, although not all incentive rewards are learned. This is where the behaviors went wrong, because the behaviors thought there are consummatory rewards, those are unconditioned rewards. To get a conditioned, if you condition a stimulus to an unconditioned reward, you get a conditioned stimulus with a conditioned reward as a response. But the problem with that line of thinking is that there's actually incentive reward circuitry. It's not just secondary learning. It's like incentive rewards have been around so long, so those are things that indicate that a consummatory reward is coming. They've been around so long that your brain has developed its own circuit for that, and that's the one that produces positive emotion. And so that's also produced, by the way, when you're taking a drug of some sort that you really like, that's because it's activating this dopaminergic incentive reward system. If you take a drug that activates consummatory reward, you just like lay in front of the fire like a sleeping dog. You know, it's not exciting. It's cocaine, amphetamines, alcohol for lots of people nail the incentive reward system, and that's the dopaminergic exploratory system that emerges out of the hypothalamus. And it's also the thing that learns what to associate with consummatory rewards. So I know that's a lot to take in, but, well, it doesn't matter. That's how it is.